So how did I got on Universal? Hello guys, Dave Hu here. Today, in this very first video, I want to talk about how I got signed with Universal. And we're talking about Universal Production Music. But before getting to the tracks and how I got signed, I want to talk a bit about my journey as a music producer, because I think that's important. So, let's get to it. I'm a music producer from Italy and I started making music back in 2016. I was inspired by some big EDM names like Martin Garrix, Kashmir, Jay Hardway and Breath Carolina. I loved their music so much that I was just curious on how they made it. So I started searching on the internet, on YouTube, and I found out FL Studio, of course. Then I started making some bad music. But then I got a bit better, and one of my tracks got even on a video by Spinning Records. In 2021, I got into the slap house wave, so I made some tracks in that style, and I got some decent amount of streams. But then in 2023 and 2024, I was making less music because of university. But then I got my degree, and from late 2023 to 2024, I started working in a company here in Italy. And there, I found a person which introduced me to the world of production music. But what is production music? Production music is still music, but it's not made only to release it on Spotify. It's made for licensing. So, from Wikipedia. So the process, explained as simple as possible, is I'm a music producer and I make music. My music gets used on some content on TV or on the internet and I get paid for that. Before I got introduced to this world, I didn't realize that behind every TV shows or Netflix, Amazon series, there was a whole music business. There are some music labels which they work specifically on the production music, and they have these huge libraries where everyone can buy and use their piece of music. The biggest libraries are of course from the major, Sony, Warner and Universal. So how did I got on Universal? As I said, I was working in a company here in Italy and I met a guy. I found out he was a producer. We started talking about music and production, and then one day he asked me to work on a project with him. It was a dance funky pop album, and that album was an album for Universal Production Music, in particular for a sub-label, a sub-library called Sketch. This album is really amazing. 16 tracks and we made 3 of them. Let me know down in the comments if I should make a video on how I made these tracks. So, from my experience, I can give you 3 useful tips. The first tip I can give you is networking. Create a network, have your contacts. This time for me it was pretty random, but I can guarantee that through my entire career I made a lot of contacts and those are really useful. Why? Because the biggest label do not have email for demos, or if I have them, it's still really hard to get signed with them. So you need network, you need it. Another tip I can give you is make great music. It may sound obvious, but we're making music, so make great music. I'm not saying I'm the best producer in the world at all. I actually have a lot to learn, but I think after 8-9 years I can say I can make good music. Another great tip I can give you is ideas. You need to be creative. And I'm not talking about making music, I'm talking about making content in general. For example, let's say you have a project where you need to record live drums. How can you use those live drums apart from the project itself. You could maybe do a sample pack, or maybe you could use the drums for making a lo-fi album. Another example would be, let's say I'm making a melody pack to sell it on my website. With those melodies, I could do some beats to make an album, or for licensing, or maybe to sell it to some rappers. You need to be creative on these things. So you need to think about taking out the most from everything you're making. So this is how I'm starting with production music, and I'll let you know how it goes. So please write down in the comments if you have any question or everything, and see you in the next video. Bye.